What's an oddly specific thing that gives your life meaning? When I wake up in the morning and ask my dog gotta go outside and she groggily gets up, comes over to my chest and flops down, making sure she's under the covers and laying on me as if to say 5 more minutes. In those first waking moments everything in the outside world just stops existing except me and my dog. The bed is warm, I have puppy snuggles, and we exist in just this warm, happy bubble before she decides it is in fact time to go outside. I love this one. When my alarm goes off, my dog comes up and puts herself in my nook and we cuddle for 5-10 minutes. She likes cuddling, but usually any other time, she is distracted or doesn't completely relax. It's like she knows the day is going to start soon and we need to be together first. When I get home from college, I take walks with my dad at an old high school track field. We usually go around midnight and sometimes we'll stop at the local gas station for a hot drink when the nights are cold. I like that even though he thinks fancy coffee drinks are silly, he'll get one with me anyways. Spending time with him is what I look forward to. I truly love this, more so for the fact you already appreciate him and all the little things he does with you, rather than when it's too late to do anything about it. Taking care of my fish tank. I have a weird assortment of fish because I always try to get the ugliest, most picked on one at the store and bring it home and nurse it back to health. Watching the color come back into them, their fins healing, and the way they get excited when you're nearby because they think they are going to be fed. There's something so soothing about it. My little underwater garden. These are animals that get the short end of the stick in society, and showing love to these tiny inconsequential creatures makes me feel good. I have one feeder guppy I found almost dead, caught in the filters at work and now he's happier than ever. It's great. I generally struggle to find the motivation to get up and go to the library to get some writing done. When I do go, I'm usually there for about 6 hours or so, but getting that first push to get out of the house, especially in winter, isn't easy. There's an older lady there, in her 60s for sure, maybe early 70s, but definitely retired, who's doing her MA in English literature and occasionally sits at the same work table as me. She's there from about 5 PM most days, and for the past 2 weeks we've started talking about stuff. Sometimes it's her course, I did an MA in English and used her tutor, so she asks me about stuff or for advice on her essays, and other times it's just shooting the crap for 10 minutes before we both get down to work. I've started making sure I go to the library early and more regularly just to make sure I get an opportunity to chat with her when she arrives. I really look forward to it now. Writing is a solitary sort of a job, but it's nice to have a friendly face at what amounts to the office. Plus I'm now spending more time at the library because I'm getting there earlier, which is boosting my weekly word count. Win-win. As far as I can see, I don't know about meaning exactly, but it's definitely something that makes my days a bit brighter. TLDR, my casual old lady library friend. Feeling genuine emotion. Everything felt so meh for so long and now I find myself laughing more and getting more emotional about things. It's a good feeling. Hopefully this message has helped some of you guys open your eyes to some of your bad habits. Today I led about 85 residents of a large nursing home in a holiday sing-along. They were all gathered around the grand piano in the auditorium, mostly in wheelchairs. My choir and I volunteer each year when the facility invites us to generate some Christmas cheer to a group of people who often feel sad or neglected. Seeing their smiles and having them enthusiastically call out their favorite tunes or carols adds meaning to life, both theirs and ours. Thank you for doing this. I remember visiting my grandpa at his nursing home on the day a small choir group came and sang. They did a large performance then went caroling to all the rooms where the resident couldn't get out of bed. Seeing my grandpa's neighbor get a private concert as she called it and how much it lightened up her day was great. When I tell the dog let's go outside and he prances 10 feet, stops to make sure I'm really following him, runs to the door, and spins in a circle because life is great. I have small barn with our 12 chickens every time. I close them up. I count them off to make sure everyone is accounted for. We've had problems with raccoon and raptors attacking over time, and it's a huge relief when I get to 12. When I'm counting, which I do out loud, in a soft voice, Several of the chickens look at me, as if to say, we are trying to sleep here, leave us be. I check for eggs, check to make sure they have enough water and feed. Good night, girls, I say quietly, we love you. I turn out the light and hear soft clucking noises as I head out the door. Simultaneously very human they seem to me, and very much like chickens. I enjoy making people feel included and noticed, valued. So I'll always look for the person in the room who's by themselves and chat them up. Sometimes it's easy to notice someone who's not very confident or doesn't think anyone would be interested. Giving them a compliment and maybe talking for a bit always lights them up. You can see the shocked disbelief when they're pleasantly surprised. Such days are my favorite. As someone is often on the edge by myself, thank you. People like you make a huge difference. Scratching a specific spot on my dog's lower back. Whenever I scratch that spot he looks at me all wide-eyed and flabbergasted like, wow, what is this amazing sensation, human, you are a god, and I can't help but smile. AWW, that reminds me of my dog. I'd scratch behind his ear in such a way that would make him lean into it with his whole body weight because he liked it so much. I miss him. There are lots of things, but I think the most specific one is my alone time with my son. He hasn't been born yet, but every night after his mom has fallen asleep, I gently put my hand on him and give 3 little I love you pats, and he almost always gives me a kick or 2 back. It's probably because I'm irritating him in his sleep, but he's going to be waking me up every night for who knows how long pretty soon. So too bad, kiddo. Actually, if it makes you feel better, usually babies in utero fall asleep during the day by the mother's movement. When she is asleep they are usually awake. So you're probably not bothering him, and he's happy to say hi. Eating freshly peeled mangoes like they're apples. None of that cutting off chunks garbage. Chomp down on that sucker and let the juice roll down your face. Sure, you might need to shower afterwards, but it's the purest sense of joy I consistently experience. When I was a kid visiting my grandparents, I would peel a fresh mango and eat it over the sink. Mango juice up to my elbows, all over my face, and in my hair. I think my record was 6 in a sitting. Seriously, best thing ever. Being the young guy in Narcotics Anonymous. I'm only 19 and it's pretty rare to see anyone around my age trying to get clean. I think I can speak for most teenagers in that our world seems so small. Having to let go of lifelong friends for personal happiness is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It definitely gives me a sense of purpose to be there to show other kids around my age who are struggling that it is possible to get clean young. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I went from college to homeless to rehabs to psych wards and then jail all in the past 2 years. I wanted to just be dead for so long. IDC if anyone thinks it dramatic, because as long as one person who is struggling with mental illness or addiction sees this and feels uplifted or hopeful, then I am grateful. No one should ever have to feel the way I did. Just know that you are not alone. You can do it. Spreading positivity while online gaming. Lifting up your teammates when they do something bad or getting onto someone when they insult someone else. We're all here to have some fun and let off steam. Don't go and ruin that for us. My PSN is Aggie bruh, if you all would like to play Rainbow Six or Rocket League, I'm down most nights. You're a trash can, not a trash can't. The email I have set to go out if I don't delay it once a month, revealing confidential information on everyone who wants me dead. I try to compliment people and be extra pleasant to strangers. I hold doors, smile and interact with people in passing as often as possible. I'll probably end up being held for ransom or debauched murdered one day because of it, but it makes me happy to make other people smile. Dude, me too. I once found myself housing 2 people in my 12 square meters dorm room, but it's so lovely being nice, and I've met and made great friends from it. I am close to the end of a long military career. I made the rank I wanted to. I have nothing else to work for, and just riding my last 2 years out. I help, train and mentor folks. I push people forward and help them succeed. I don't need to or have to. I just enjoy helping kids that are just starting out. I have a little code I made up called Vindictus, which is vengeance in Latin, or at least I think it is IDK, but it sounds cool. Basically, my childhood sucked. It was incredibly traumatic. I spent a lot of time angry because I never felt the concept of innocence or growing up like a lot of my friends. In a sense, I wanted vengeance for my lost childhood. The thing is, most people want to go about vengeance by somehow brining back the past, and that's impossible. The pain will never go away and things will have always happened. I realized that instead that it is better to make the pain of yesterday negligible compared to tomorrow's triumph. So basically, my concept of vengeance is finding a way to become happy enough that I don't care about all the bad crap that happened to me. You can't take away the sadness, but at least you can become numb to it. I still have days of anger, sadness, few and far between, but I do try to be happy and joyful most days. Never thought of it like this before. Flipping it so the anger sadness is on the other side. I like this Vindictus code. My 3-year-old son doesn't like public toilet hand dryers. I think the volume and the fact you're in a small space scares him. He usually forgets they exist until someone turns one on, and every time it happens his little hand will shoot up to grab mine. A little bit of reassurance for him. Reminds me that no matter how often I feel like I'm pretending at being an adult, this little dude thinks I can protect him from the scary things. Haha, there's an episode of Raising Hope where the dad scares the crap out of his kid every Halloween so he will run home and hug him. I'm 21. I was adopted at birth. I've never met any biological relatives, and I've always wanted to know my other family. In like 2 weeks I'm going to meet my birth mother for the first time. I'm terrified and excited beyond belief. This is the only thing getting me through finals. Otherwise, I want to see the world. I traveled for the first time this past summer and now I want to explore everywhere. Good luck with meeting your birth mother. I have a relative who gave up her son as a teen mother and they reconnected years later. They have a great relationship now. I hope you are as lucky as they were, and good travels to you too. As cliched as it sounds, existing in general gives my life meaning. Sometimes while I'm alone I'm just grateful to be alive. It gives me motivation during tough times, hope during sad times, and joy during happy times. Existing as an individual in my little world in this gigantic cosmic entity gives me a sort of purpose. My goal is to give as many dogs as possible a loving and healthy home for as long as I live, up to 5 through my lifetime so far. Cooking. It's my job and my life outside work. The source and cure for most of my stresses really. I know it won't be my job forever, but there's something about putting a knife to a chopping board, a pan on the heat, peeling some veg or kneading some dough that helps calm me down. It makes me feel a bit more whole. And I know that even when it's not my profession anymore, it'll be there for feeding all the people I love and care about, and that's more than good enough for me. I love meal planning and cooking healthy, nutritious, and delish meals for my family. Picking out all the items at the store, finding things I know they love to eat, knowing they can find food in the fridge when they open it up. What a feeling. Brushing scraping snow off of people's cars. Even better if they aren't looking or aware of it. I try to do that when it snows at night at work before everyone leaves, and I love seeing their reactions to it. That's great. Right now I think about shoveling my neighbor's driveway. He's old and I don't know how he would react to that crazy German lady shoveling his driveway, but I already did mine and I have so much shoveling left in me, lol. My cats are literally why I haven't killed myself. As in them meowing to be fed made me take my finger off the trigger. To the people asking, no, I'm not alright. My last relationship was 7 years ago and life has been nothing but downhill since. Even though things are getting objectively better, I'm still just nothing but a ball of unending physical pain, emotionally emptiness, apathy, hurt, and anger. Sell the guns, then. Best thing you can do to make sure they have time to save you next time, too, is to make sure the decision isn't as easily accessible. I feed the pigeons. I sometimes feed the sparrows too. It gives me a sense of enormous well-being. And then I'm happy for the rest of the day, safe in the knowledge there will always be a bit of my heart devoted to it. Park life. I'm disfellowshipped from the JW community and therefore my family shuns me. They believe that anyone who leaves the church will no longer receive blessings from God and only do so to live a life of sin and to be a part of Satan's world. I decided to not be a JW 7 years ago and as a result I couldn't live at home. I was homeless and working 3 jobs to survive and get my associate's degree. 7 years later and I am getting my master degree, have an amazing husband, and our own little apartment. I finally was able to afford a 6-foot Christmas tree and I've never been happier. Knowing my family wants nothing more than to watch me fail so I'll come back to Jehovah is the biggest motivation to be a good person and successful, especially knowing I've done it all without their help. For some reason, giving extremely generous tips always makes me happy. I ain't rich or anything, but I always make sure to give no less than a 50% tip. Whether it's a waiter or a hair cutter, they don't get tipped enough so I guess it's my way of making it up for them. It's a small thing, but it really makes my life seem a lot brighter. Man, I would love to be a service provider for you. Wait, that came out wrong. Theater. Seeing live theater that's really good has a different effect than seeing a movie or a TV show. Truly unique experience every time, even when you're seeing the same show. I'm involved in a small community theater and you just made my day. Like all entertainment sources outside the home, our attendance has been declining for decades as we compete against HD widescreen TVs. There's nothing like live entertainment. Knowing that my boyfriend is still in touch with his emotions because of me, after years of bad experiences and people, he became a very jaded person. He says that I've brought him back to life. I know I'm not significant to the world, but to him, I'm his world. I've dabbled in conlanging and world building. Right now, all of that stuff, entire cultures and languages and customs and peoples exists only in my head. Without me, it all just vanishes without a trace. Knitting. You have to enjoy the process and not just the outcome, but it also feels great to see someone enjoying something you've made. Also, if I ever had to be on bed rest or had a horrible accident, or even became blind, I would still be able to do it. A few things. Making people happy. This is a bit of a downside as I'm an awful gift giver. I always want to give it to them right away. It's nearly impossible for me to wait until Christmas, their birthday. Waking up to my cat. She's almost always on my bed when I wake up, and when she sees I'm awake she gets super excited, chirping like crazy, and needs pets before I get out of bed. Music. There is always a new artist to find and enjoy their music. It helps me focus. I am constantly playing music because if I didn't have some sort of background noise I would panic. I stress out very easily and I found that it helps me pay attention to what needs to be done instead of letting any external things bother me. I found that learning guitar helps out a lot. When I have a bad day I try to go back to my room and either learn something or make up something entirely new. I might not be great but it is surprisingly relaxing. I believe that there is nothing better than hearing an amazing song for the first time. Being a good person to others around me and positively contributing to the world. Not sure if that is specific or too vague but that is what will make me happy. Username wholesomely checks out. My little doggo's main priority in life is to give kisses. My girlfriend hates it because of the sound, but I just let him go to town after I get back from work. Finally, after a solid 2 minutes of kisses I'll lift him up in the air and say that's enough buddy. Now, who wants to go for a walk? And he squirms around in the air like a mad lad. Kids cartoons. I especially like the family-oriented episodes because I've never been able to achieve the sort of relationships I desire with my own family members. There's also a lot of adventure which kinda makes me feel better about having nothing going on. Man, Clifford on PBS makes me feel so safe, good, and warm inside. I don't know why, but it does. The research I'm doing for my PhD, it has taught me the patience required to come up with something great as I've spent over a year having stuff not work out. That being said, I've also got to experience joy and pride when things do work and I can make a significant contribution to my field of research. I wish I could say I felt that good about my PhD research. I'm one bad antibody away from a mental breakdown. I have a pacemaker, NeuroPace RNS, attached to my brain to control my epilepsy. I had to undergo 3 brain surgeries and 2 years worth of testing where they went as far as shutting down my brain temporarily. Despite this, I've still maintained a full-time job at an incorporated 500 company, minus brief periods of time. I bought a new house, had a child and never slowed down. I was back at my office with 30 plus staples in my head keeping my skull attached. I've done this to continue to support my wife who had done nothing but supported me. I lived for years without handle it because I was the only one who had to deal with it. But now my wife and kid are the most important aspects of my life that I have to give 100% to. TLDR. I had brain surgery to keep my wife and child a priority. You are my hero. Seriously. People like you inspire me. 99.9% of us haven't dealt with half the crap you've dealt with yet we moan and make excuses about doing what we need to do for ourselves and people in our lives and obligations. Keep on keeping on, fellow human. My lower income apartment complex and my cats. My apartment complex is near a university and is cheaply priced for the area. The apartments are snug and only 1 bedroom, but comfortable, fit a few people and some animals. We have every kind of person you could imagine living here, and while sometimes it can be sketchy because of known drug addicts, there is so much culture, respect and kindness from everyone. I'm proud to live here. The simplicity humbles me and brings me joy. My cats bring me absolute warmth and joy as well. They help with my depression and anxiety, and I don't think I'd be mentally as sound without them. I do live with a boyfriend. I have a degree and a job, and I'm living a good life. I mention this just in case I worried some of you had. Introducing my daughter to good music. I love everything about her, and she has made life magical in a million ways, but when she asks for the Beatles by name and sings along to Golden Slumbers, I get all the freaking feels. Learning about another culture. I just moved to Montreal, where I am slowly learning the language and delving deep into what it means to be a native of this city. It just makes me feel so much more fulfilled trying to become a part of something that is so different than what I grew up knowing, experiencing. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.